Welcome to the operator training for the Revent rotating rack ovens. We will cover the basic operation of the 724 double rack oven and the 726 single rack oven. Now this training is to give you a basic knowledge of the operation of these ovens and to serve as reinforcement for the operator's manual that came with the oven. Now caution, always assume that the oven is hot. Protect yourself through the use of protective gear supplied to you by your employer. Always be aware that steam may be present. Do not stand where hot air or steam may reach you or another person when opening the oven door. To load or unload any of the Revent rotating rack ovens, always wait for the rack to stop in the unload position prior to opening the door. Again, wait for the rack to be in the unload position before opening the oven door. The 724 and 726 rack ovens have the swing open door. Always stand away from the opening as you prepare to open the door. Open the door slightly and wait a couple of seconds before opening it fully. Once open, the oven rack may be loaded or unloaded easily. This is the graphic interactive control, or what we refer to as the GIAC. The 724 and 726 double and single rack oven respectively use the GIAC that has the navigation buttons below the screen. There are also two buttons in the lower left and right corner for use as noted. Now these arrows move the position on the screen from left to right, up and down, as well as changing values when in a highlighted section such as time or temperature. The middle button is the enter or accept button. The 724 and 726 ovens have the power button located below the navigation buttons. Push it to turn on the oven. The unit is now on and will begin to heat up to the preset temperature shown. Now you want to start on the main menu screen. Now for the 700 series ovens, touch the button below menu. Three primary areas will show on the screen that you will be utilizing: bake recipes, bake manually, and recipes. So what are they? Well, bake recipes gives you a listing of pre-entered and saved recipes. Bake manually lets you enter the data for the item you want to bake and do it manually. Recipes is the area we go to build, edit, or delete the recipes that you find under the Bake Recipes key. Now, we are going to concentrate on the Bake Manually key now. So navigate to that area and touch Enter. Now remember, when you're using a GIAC with the navigation arrows, you have to move to the area where you want to enter data and then press the center Enter button to access it. The screen shows us that we can enter the bake time, the bake temperature, the vent or damper can be opened to evacuate moisture, and steam can be added to the cycle. So as an example, we're going to set up the following recipe parameters. With the GIAC and the navigation arrows, you highlight the temperature area, hit the enter button. Now use the arrows to increase or decrease the temperature setting and then press the enter key. Bake time, this is done in the same manner as the set temperature is completed. With the set bake time highlighted, hit the enter button. Now use the arrows to increase or decrease the bake time setting and then push the enter key again. Please note that the bake time has hours, minutes, and seconds, and depending on which section you have highlighted determines where the data updates to. The next area is your damper or vent. Again, this is utilized to evacuate moisture from the baking cavity of the oven. You highlight the area on the screen. The drop-down will have three areas: the start, duration, and open. The first number to enter next to start is when you want the damper vent to open. So if we have a 20-minute total bake time and you want the damper open for the last 5 minutes, the start number is 15. This will automatically place a 5 minutes in the duration and next to the damper image. The open will default to open 100%, which is the norm, but you can change this percentage if wanted. Steam, again, this is very similar to setting the damper. Now the 3 areas are start, spray, and rest. When do you want the steam to begin? Normally, with baked products, it is right at the beginning of the cycle. So if that is the case, the start time is 0 minutes to start right now. Next is how long or amount of steam you require. Normally it is 5 to 20 seconds. We are going with 5 seconds in this example. The last is called rest. How long do you want the steam or moisture to lay on the product before the circulation fan starts? For this example, we will enter 40 seconds. We have the program for this manually entered recipe all ready to go now. You may now notice that the oven is heating. Always make sure the oven is at the proper temperature before opening the door and loading your product. The oven has reached temperature. Open the oven door and load the product. Close the door and immediately push Start Bake in the lower right corner of the display, the button directly below. When the baking time is ended, there will be an alarm or buzzer. Looking through the window, you will determine the product is baked. Now, press the Stop Bake button and wait for the rack to stop in the unload position before opening the door. If the product is not done and you see the need for additional time to be added, the lower left corner of the display is Add Time. Press this and add time. An operator can add additional time prior to the end of a bake cycle by highlighting the bake time area and changing the time to the desired conclusion. You now understand how to enter the Bake Manual screen and to complete the filling in of temperature, time, damper, and steam. You also know how to turn the oven on and off for a bake cycle. Let's go ahead and quickly look at what do you do if recipes are already programmed into the oven. You would navigate on the main menu to Bake Recipes at the top of the left column. Highlight that, hit the Enter button, and that will open up a list of all of the items that already are programmed. Select the item that you want by navigating to it with the arrows, press the Enter button, and the oven will come up with the proper recipe ready to go. Practice a few to get the feel of the controller on your oven. The GIAC controller will give you great end product by making sure the correct information has been entered and followed. Always refer to the operator's manual that came with the oven when you have a question. Be safe and thank you for your time.